Okay, let's get started. So, you have to explain something to me because you're, like, more social media savvy than I am, and you being 2 years younger are up with the trends more than I am.
Okay, I'll try.
What's the whole I said Twitter, do you know this song?
I have no
Have
idea.
you seen that?
No, I saw that on the notes and I do not know what you're talking about.
What? So there's like been this thing going around Twitter that's like, it's like I don't even get it. They're like random videos of people singing or like making noises, and it says, "I said Twitter, do you know this song?" Whatever. Well, if you don't know what
I don't know what that is.
We should look into it.
But I saw something on Twitter last night. It reminds me of that. This girl spent 4 months planning this surprise. And then last night she tweeted out something like, "Is it just me or did I just pull off the greatest Twitter scheme of all time?" And it said, "Read through the first word of all my tweets to find out what I'm talking about." And when you read the first word of every one of her tweets for the last 4 months, it's the entire lyrics to Bohemian Rhapsody.
Oh my god, that's hilarious.
So like,
well, actually, do you know, you probably don't, I follow this girl on Instagram, her name's Hummusbird, and I don't even know she works at Etsy, I don't even know why she's like Insta famous or how I found her, but she's doing something similar, and every day she posts a picture, like a selfie, and there's a word written on her forehead, and she puts it into one of her like story like bubble things that you can find on like
the highlights.
Highlights.
Yeah.
And she was like, eventually it'll spell out, like it'll be like a letter.
Wow.
But she puts one word every day, so it's something I wonder what it's gonna say eventually. Weird. People are crazy.
I know. Like, how do you think of that and take the time to do that?
I don't know.
Interesting.
All right, well, let's roll the intro music.
Okay.
Ba-dum. Okay, welcome back to Basic and Beyond. I'm Christina.
I'm Lauren.
And today, we're gonna start. I just want to tell you about this weird phenomenon that I've uncovered.
Okay.
And I don't know if it's a secret. Maybe a lot of people know about it. But I was hanging out with a friend of mine and some of her friends, and they are Indian. And she was telling me about how the older generation in Indian culture uses WhatsApp as, like, everything. They use it as a news source. They use it as social media. They use it way of communicating. They use it as Venmo, like, literally everything. And apparently it's becoming so much of a problem because that's the only thing, like, I'm not generalizing, but she says, like, it's a vast majority of, like, their parents' age. So, like, I would guess, like, 50 to 70 range, they believe everything that they see on there. So, like, someone could just post something and be like, "I just saw blah 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 get run over by a car," and even if it didn't happen, they're all like, "Oh my god, are they okay?" And they just believe everything that they see on there, and it's causing, like, huge problems, apparently.
That's so interesting. I don't even understand how you would use WhatsApp for anything other than messaging. Do you have WhatsApp?
No, yeah, I have it, and I've only used it for messaging, but I don't, that's what I said.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't get how they use it for that, and it's like, they all have, like, little subgroups with each other, like, she was like, yeah, me, my sister, and my mom have a subgroup, and then me, my sister, my mom, and my dad have a subgroup, and then our extended family has a subgroup, so they all have, like, hundreds of groups with, like, different people. Like, I guess I'm in a bunch of group messages, but it's just so bizarre. I don't know. I've only used it a few times, so I don't know, like, where that functionality comes in where you can use it for all that other stuff. But I really think it's just, like, they hear it in a message and then they message someone else.
Oh.
And that's how they get their news.
That is bizarre.
It's so bizarre.
And it reminds me of something called WeChat in China. If you've heard of that, we have a lot of international students here at IU, and a lot of them are Chinese, and they use this, it's like a I don't know what to call it, because it's like their social media and their messaging and their Venmo and their Uber and their...
So it's essentially the same thing.
Yeah, it's they do everything on WeChat. They order food, like they have their banking, they pay for things at stores, and it's all on one platform.
That could be really dangerous.
I agree. It's creepy.
Like, you could potentially, like, if you get hacked, like, your life is ruined.
Exactly. You can see in the U.S. how some, like, platforms are kind of moving that way. Like, on Snapchat, you can pay people with Snapcash. And
I knew that.
On Facebook, I'm pretty sure you can pay people, too. And, I can definitely see us moving towards that. But also, I think people in the U.S. are maybe more concerned with their civil liberties. So we might be a little more hesitant to do
people are forgetting the whole concept of what's the term, distribution of wealth. It's like the same concept of how people with a lot of money, instead of just having it all in like one checking account in cash, they like put it in forms of investments. So like they invest in real estate, they invest in like companies, and they buy stock, so like they have money spread out everywhere.
Diversification?
Same way with
is that the
diversification word? Of yes. That's what I meant. But like that, but for your like social life.
Yeah.
Like, don't put all your eggs in one basket, kind of a thing.
It just would make it so much easier someday for whoever's in charge of that to say, okay, we own your life, this is how it's going to be. And it's just easier for someone to potentially take control of everything. That's how my mind works, because I always think the government is out to get us. So
yeah, that was ingrained into you.
It was. But actually, I know we're not talking about this on today's episode, but it reminds me of The Handmaid's Tale, how when I read the book before, when they were in a society that was like modern day U.S. before they had this crazy new world government that made society how it is in the books and in the series, they had a banking system where your banks were directly connected to you as a person. Like everything was, you would essentially go somewhere to pay for something and give them your name and maybe like an identification number, and then they could look up your bank account and you would pay through that. So it reminds me of that a little bit, how everything was all like on one platform, and then it just made it so much easier for the government to shut it off and say, you don't have money anymore. We decided to block your bank account.
WeChat is in China?
Yes.
Wasn't China a communist country at one point?
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe they're starting to go that direction. I don't know. I feel like if something like that cropped up in America and like it became culturally relevant and like a lot of people used it, I'm a bandwagoner. I would hop on that. Like I might be a little skeptical, but I would probably do it. I might not use like some of the functions in it, but it does create like ease in certain things.
It does, and it's like the question is how much of your data and your security are you willing to give up for convenience? And just like for example, with the iPhone X or the iPhone 10 and the face recognition, the face unlock.
You know I have a 10, right?
Yeah, so does Colin.
Oh, does he?
Yeah.
Really? Is he freaked out about the facial recognition?
No, he's not freaked out. But, I use Touch ID for my iPhone 8, so Apple has my fingerprints. Like, they're starting to... I
think it just depends. Like, I don't do anything illegal. I'm never going to go into any sort of business that requires me to be, like, a really overly secretive person. So it doesn't really bother me.
Right. That's how I feel. I'm like, okay, as long as I play by the rules and they have no reason to...
Right. Use that. Like, what are they going to use my face for? Hypothetically, if there is, like, ever a situation where the government is completely reformed into this totalitarian government type model, what are they going to do with my face? I guess they could track me down a lot easier.
Yeah, they could. If you were on the run and they have cameras on every stoplight.
But then you could just wear, like, a mask or a hat or something to... Like, when I have my sunglasses on, that facial recognition stuff doesn't work. So just put my sunglasses on.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's like in The Handmaid's Tale, the new government all of a sudden decided that women weren't allowed to have bank accounts, and that's how the whole thing started. So one day the government just said, okay, if you're a female, we are putting your bank account in control of, like, your next of kin who's a male, and then it just snowballed from there. So that's just an example. But yeah,
side tangent. We can't talk about that today. We're going to talk about that next episode.
Sorry, yeah. We're not
Spoiler alert, we're going to talk about The Handmaid's Tale next episode. So if you want to prepare yourself, listen to The Handmaid's Tale.
But yeah, the way I think about it is if I ever had any reason, if the government was ever coming after me for any reason, I would probably have to go underground and off the grid anyway, so
I'd be prepared. I wonder at what point I'm sorry, this is very interesting to me, so I keep thinking about it. At what point and what signs and what, like, red flags would have to, like, be raised for me to be like, all right, time to leave the country, or, like, time to go underground, or time to, like, go off the grid. Like, what would have to happen for me to, like, really think that? Because for the most part, I'm pretty trusting of the government. So
not just the government, but also all these big corporations that are using our data, like Facebook and Apple. And it's the scariest thing about it is it's presented in a way that it's like modern technology and progress, and we're doing this to make your lives better. And I really don't think you would realize that it's at a point where it's dangerous until it's too late. It just reminds me of, like, when the saying about putting a frog in hot water. If you're going to kill a frog, you put it in a pot of cold water, and then you gradually warm it up until it's boiling, and then the frog dies, and the frog never realizes that it's being killed because...
It's interesting that you said that.
Why?
That has a direct relation into the conspiracy that we're talking
about
today. But we'll get to that, yes. But, like, you wonder. I know taxes have been around forever, but I wonder if people thought that about taxes. It's like, no, I'm not going to give my money to you in hopes that you use it for the betterment of society, right?
Well, they did.
It's their money.
No taxation without representation. And
right, yeah, but, like, originally, because taxes have been around for, I don't know, a while. Like, before the founding of America, before...
I mean, ever since the foundation of, like, society, modern society.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
like, since biblical times, in the Bible, there are taxes.
Has it been since biblical times, really?
They had taxes in the Bible.
But so I would have been skeptical if all of a sudden, all the money that I earn is mine. And then someone comes up to me and is like, we want to build a bridge in the town, but we need all the town to participate. Can you chip in, or you need to chip in 20% of whatever you earned at the market today? Like, I'd be pissed. Not used to not paying 20, and I'd be like skeptical and worried. Anyways, we got really off topic, but
it's okay.
WeChat and WhatsApp. Could it be dangerous?
It just is so Black Mirror-y. It reminds me of.
It is, and people don't realize that they're in such a weirdly constructed bubble, you know?
Oh, side note, when we were in New York over the summer...
we had to talk about that.
Yeah, good segue. But when we were there our last weekend, Colin's sister, so my sister-in-law and her husband, came to visit us, and we introduced them to Black Mirror, and we spent every night watching like 2 or 3 episodes of Black Mirror. And
oh my god, did it not put you into a hole of depression?
No, because I'd seen them all before, so I was prepared, and I knew the episodes that really triggered me, and so I just had to like not pay such close attention. Like the episode called White Christmas, I can't.
I still only seen 2 episodes. I'm too afraid to watch more.
Okay. Anyway,
we'll get around to it eventually.
Yeah. But anyway, this is unrelated. But one night we started having this. We had this like long discussion about simulation theory, and I really liked the way that Todd, who is he my brother-in-law? I don't know. He's married to Colin's sister, so
yes, that's brother-in-law. Your brother-in-law. Okay. Yeah.
I really liked the way he explained it, and I just thought it was cool to talk about that with him, because I don't talk about any of that stuff with Colin's family ever, so it was...
Wait, how did he explain it?
He explained it as first he said, okay, like, how would you explain simulation theory to someone who's never heard of it? And I gave